Hey everyone, it's 10, and today I want to talk to you about the nature of the divine masculine and the divine feminine and why it's important to consider. So, when we're talking about masculine and feminine forces, we're actually talking about the nature of duality, how there is a positive and a negative, how there is a yin and a yang. And when I'm talking about positive and negative, please don't think that I'm trying to be derogatory to anyone because we're simply talking about the nature of its existence. When I say positive, it means that it goes out, it protrudes, it enforces itself upon. And when I say negative, I mean that it takes in, it holds, it receives. So everything that is manifested in this physical reality has its positive masculine forces and its negative feminine forces. A very simple example of this would be how the physical aspect of an object or a person, like our body or the objects in front of me, how they have their physical matter form, but there's also a spiritual form that exists somewhere else. This is one of the core concepts of animism, the understanding of how every being, every object has spirit in it in some form, and how the physical object is a manifestation of that expression of spirit. The physical body is feminine because it holds and retains the positive masculine spirit. That being said, in my practice, I've noticed that sometimes objects are referred to as masculine and some objects are referred to as feminine. You see those correspondences with plants and herbs, sometimes with stones and sometimes with colors, and I started to question why that is. So the first key to remember is that everything manifested has both genders in it, but it can be in different qualities. And I believe that when we come to objects and the nature of them, it is very much subjective and it's up to you to decide how you want to categorize it. So to understand the nature of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, we can use humans and our physical bodies and our minds as examples. So when we think of the human body, consider first the genitals of people who are designated male at birth and designated female at birth. Male genitals, the penis, the phallus, goes out, it protrudes, it projects, and it begets from itself. It leaves a part of itself out in order to be developed. I'm talking about the sperm in this case. In terms of the other aspects of the male body, we know that male bodies tend to be toned and develop more muscle a bit quicker. And I think that this is because males should be the protectors of everybody in the society, or at least in the early models of humans, that's what it was. If women were holding babies in their wombs or were nursing children, then would be the men of the tribe protecting the women and children until they become independent and can fend for themselves. And this segues right into the female body and the divine feminine. So female genitals, the vagina, the yoni, it goes into the body and it holds. It is where the seed can develop. It is where the fetus forms and where life is nurtured. Female bodies will also naturally produce breasts that give life essence in the form of mother's milk. So both the male body and the female body are very good examples of the expression of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. But we have yet to still talk about the nature of gender, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you think about how the expression of the male body is to go out, to project, to protect, you understand the way that our patriarchal society has developed, where masculine aspects of divinity have been hyper-focused, and many aspects of divine feminine energy have been repressed. Divine feminine energy is very much about form, about structure, while divine masculine energy is very much about power, about force. And it's when we have those two united together that we create the third unique thing, by accepting that our gender isn't necessarily binary in the same way that our bodies might be. And intersex people do exist, but that's a whole nother topic that I'd like to discuss on another day. Even if the physical body is a divine manifestation of the principle of gender, it is how we identify and the shape of our mind that dictates what our own gender is. No one can tell you what your gender is aside from you. I think that subconsciously humans use both, regardless of whether they identify as male or female or neither. So now that we've established this way of thinking and understanding the divine masculine and divine feminine energy, how do we transfer that to our knowledge of objects and the correspondences therein? I think that it is more subjective, and it is based on a lot of what I've discussed earlier, but I'll give you some examples of some objects that I can think of that I see as divinely masculine or feminine, and I'll give you a hint. If it's phallic, it's masculine, and if it's yonic, it's feminine. Objects like geodes or orchid flowers, they seem very distinctly feminine to me because they have this natural ability to take in, and that's one of the key aspects of the feminine. If it can attract something towards you, then it can be feminine in that aspect. Now with the inverse, when we have objects like wheat, corn, or crystal points that protrude outward, I see that as divinely masculine because it is imposing itself out there, it is protruding, and it is giving away its energy. But as we've mentioned at the beginning, everything has its masculine and its feminine qualities, and sometimes it's more equal and balanced. The most prime example I can give to you is in the case of roots. The roots of a plant are masculine in the sense that they physically penetrate into the earth, but they're also feminine in the sense that they draw in water and nutrients for the plant. These are just a few examples to get you started, but you can do this with pretty much everything that exists out there. Use your intuition, use your logic, and research into the methodology of thinking, because once you understand how to categorize it for yourself, it becomes easier to dissolve those barriers. So that's everything that I want to talk about to you for today. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would appreciate that greatly. And until next time, I hope you take care. Bye.